Thank you very much. When Arthur Ashe found fame, he did not close his eyes. He did not forget the many who could not share his fortune. When Arthur Ashe found fame, he used the equity of his celebrity to shine a light on ignorance and spark global understanding. Tonight, we honor another man who found fame and who chose not to forget, another man who begs the world to see and to understand. His name, like his country, may not be well known on this side of the Atlantic, but we're talking about a giant. His name is George Weah of Liberia. George Weah is one of the greatest soccer players of our time, from a nation where chaos has been the rule and where children are born killers. Spit upon, his house burned, risking death over and over again, George Weah has nonetheless gone home again and again and again. His relentless message of hope defies reason in an age of mindless terror and bottomless hatred. But this is a man born to be a striker, born to finish what he starts. George Weah refuses to close his eyes, and George Weah will never, ever let us forget how much work there is left to do.
I'm 16 years old. I was born 1988, October 22nd. I was a leader. I was major. I used to lead 31 men every day to a front. Yeah, I'm tired of fighting now because there's no answer to war. I want peace for everlasting. I want for peace to be in the country for everlasting.
It began in 1980 with an assassination and violent coup d'etat. The government, in place for 133 years, was overthrown. And for over 2 decades thereafter, Liberia was overcome by civil war. Millions were displaced. The landscape was ravaged by poverty and disease. Hundreds of thousands were killed, including nearly an entire generation of children who had been drugged, beaten, and brainwashed to serve in the murderous campaigns of warlords.
The children here in Liberia has suffered enormously. Many of the kids, they've never done anything except hold an AK-47 and take lives.
We think maybe even up to 15,000 children have been involved in this war. They don't know where their mothers and fathers are, don't know where their brothers and sisters are. They are so angry about the war, they are so tired, they know the opportunities they've missed, and they want a future.
There was a light in Liberia that shined before and through the darkness. A game that offered a way to forget the war, and for one man, a way to rise above it altogether. George Weah grew up here, abandoned by his parents. He was one of 14 children raised by his grandmother. The only education he ever received was in the angles and artistry of soccer. His only classroom, a dusty pitch near his home. And he quickly progressed from student to master of the game. His people would come to call him King George, a title befitting the greatest player Africa ever produced.
Delivered into the net by Weah.
He rose to stardom at home and then internationally. In 1995, he became the only man ever to win the African, European, and World Player of the Year awards in the same year. Famous, rich, and revered, he was distanced from his embattled homeland by miles and stature. When he called from afar for UN intervention, the consequence was immediate and personal.
Oh yes, his house was looted, his cousin raped, and other family of his were affected. And as a result, they fled, went into exile.
Liberia has been such chaos and confusion, and it has affected George. The scars are pretty deep.
In these years, it was very difficult for me, coming from practice every day, watching television, Liberia on the news, people running away, people dying. So all I said to myself was, look, what can I do to better the situation in my country? I felt that Liberia is my country, that's my country, I must come back.
In 1997, at the height of the war, George Weah did come back, welcomed as a conquering hero. He supported the national soccer team with over $2 million of his own money. As a player and coach, he led the Lone Star to within one win of a World Cup berth in 2001, reviving the pride and hope that had been lost in Liberia for over a decade.
We started together, we have to finish it.
The team served as a unifying force within that time. Rebel groups, warring factions. Whenever Lone Star was playing, they stopped fighting and then just glued to their TV and glued to their radio.
But the war continued. Still, Weah did not retreat to the safety and celebrity of his athletic life. The world's greatest striker stayed home and made peace his priority.
George Weah kept sport prevailing, no matter what was happening in Liberia. And he knows that he has a chance, with his international stardom, to actually keep the focus here for us a bit longer.
In December of 2003, a truce was declared, and Weah's efforts in Liberia have extended to saving lives.
So you guys can have a building for the children to go to school.
He now continues his struggle to restore the country, one child at a time.
Being with them, live with them, eat with them, play with them, I will know exactly what is going on. This is reality. I can run from reality. Every Liberian loves sports, so I know sports can play a vital role in the country, in our peace process, and sports can help the discipline the kids to unify them. Don't you go?
Through soccer, there's reconciliation, that you can work out aggression, you can work out competition, but you do it within a legitimized structure, that it's talent that ultimately makes the decision here. And that's why George Weah is a symbol, that you can do it, that there is hope.
Peace to Liberia! Peace to Liberia! Free education! Free education! Disarm! Disarm! I want to say thanks to you all, God bless you, and I'll always come back.
He came back because it was home. He stays because helping Liberia is now his life. Evil men had forced the children to act as weapons of war. An honorable man has invited them to serve as instruments of peace.
If you make a stand in this world, what you find is soon you aren't one man, you have a crowd around you. And I think that George has managed to rally people to the cause of peace, stability, and to the future of Liberia.
He represents the glory, he represents the aspiration, he inspires.
It's an overwhelming responsibility that he has, but he bears it very well. He came back at the time of disarmament, kept his promise. He's making other promises, and I know he will come back and keep those promises again.
The international community is here to help us. But what can we do for ourselves? What will we do to protect our nation? What will we do to educate our kids? What can we do to bring about peace within ourselves? That's the question. This is my soul. This is my blood. It's part of me. I can never give up on Liberia.
I can believe George because he's a man. A man do by a word. Yeah.
Free education. Free education. Disarm. Disarm. Peace to Liberia. Peace to Liberia. Peace to Liberia. Peace to Liberia.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present this year's Arthur Ashe Award to George Weah.
I'm honored and grateful for this award. I've won many awards in my time, but this is the greatest achievement of my life because it stands for true humanity. Standing beside me is Hillson Hugo and Princess Soiree. These beautiful people never met eyes to eye. They always fought against each other. He fought at the age of 11, she fought at the age of 12. It's so devastating. The kids are here today to say to you people they are innocent and are very sorry for the horrifying images they saw during our laborious civil crisis. All they want today is to be educated, to be reintegrated into society so they can be people tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, let us find in our God-loving hearts to help the kids of the world, to help the kids of Liberia. And finally, I want to say to all the award recipients, congratulations. God bless you all. I love Liberia and Liberia forever. Thank you.
That's why you have to protect it. If they think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
Joseph Boakai talking about election would be stolen. Ain't nobody going to steal any election in our country. The old man is nothing. A man who got flogged by George Weah in 2017, a man who was homebound, a man who is a medical liability, a man who is a total disaster, who going to steal election from Joe Boakai? If I just let just make it to look relevant. Joe Boakai, you nothing in that town. You nothing. Everybody know you nothing, Joe Boakai. So don't come be wasting your time. You nothing. Look at that behind you. Most of them they get fucked up. I want to behind you for. But Joe Boakai, you are nothing. Who can tell you can go see election? Nobody going to even give you the number you're looking for. Man, that boy here, Joe Boakai, man. You must be over there thinking that Joe Boakai going to rescue you. Joe Boakai know that somebody that can rescue somebody. 1 minute in the hospital, even know what can in the hospital. I can somebody rescue you when you got under pressure. Hey, have my foot, you got to know that somebody can rescue you. Some of you guys are very fucked up. Some of you guys are fucked up. Joe Boakai that somebody rescue somebody. Yeah. Sometimes you can misapply these words there, but it's understandable. Because some of you guys have never had the opportunity to see real rescuer that will rescue you for a better good time or better opportunity. Joe Boakai know that somebody that rescue. Look at him. You really need to take a look at Joe Boakai. Does that man know that? Do you see that man and know that somebody that rescue somebody you got? Rescue. Just stop me using the word, man. Joe Boakai is nothing. Joe Boakai is nothing.
All right, guys. Good evening. It's late on my side here, so we just want to go over a few things, and then we will call it a day because it's been a very long day from my end here. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity. Again, we just want to go over a few things, and then after that we'll call it a day, and then we'll have to move on. The election is coming to an end. The election campaign is coming to an end. We are making progress. and we are going to continue pushing our messages. Let me say hi to my folks on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. And it's always a pleasure to be in your midst here. Yes. Question for everyone. Where is my Seditian brothers and sisters, and where are they? Where are my Seditian brothers and sisters? Where are they? Where are my brothers and sisters? Seditian. Tita Johnson said here, all right, I see my sister Tita Johnson here. God bless you. Mr. President, we love you. Thank you very much, Tita Johnson, for showing your support to the president. Please share the video here. Let me see here who else here again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining, please share the video. Yeah, share the video, ladies and gentlemen. Please share the video here, all right? Yeah, share the video, and let's chit chat for a few minutes here, and then we'll be calling it a day. I think we've had more input this morning, and we just wanted to add a few things here. So I'd like to say this to everyone. Thank you guys for your continued support on the platform. We are here all the time to present the truth to the Liberian people, and we understand that most of them really don't understand what is happening in our country. Our role here is to provide education to them. Is the education going to be enough? I say absolutely not. But are we going to see how things going to be? Of course, we want to see how things going to be. We're going to be here, and we're going to witness the election. The election going to come. We're going to see results and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity. And as always, please feel free to share the video with me and share the video with your friends. I'm enjoying my green tea here this morning. Yes, I am enjoying my tea this morning. So thanks to every one of you guys for joining me here. Few announcements I would like to make here. I don't think tomorrow morning I will be broadcasting. Today is Tuesday, so tomorrow will be off. Yes, tomorrow I will be off, and then I will also be off on Thursday. So tonight is the last night for the first 2 days in the week, the 5 business day. So we are only here to at least update you guys on what we hope to do tomorrow. From what I have seen so far, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen Joseph Boakai election campaign messages. For me, there's nothing to argue about. Yes, there's nothing absolutely to argue about. I think the campaign is over. Joe Boakai is only finishing up the little time left. But as far as Mr. Boakai winning any election, I'm going to say this here tonight. Joe Boakai is not going to win this election. He is going to lose. I want you to mark this down for me. Today is September the 26th, 2023. I have around 9:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm making a revelation here. Joseph Boakai is going to lose this election. Yes, he is going to lose this election. The reason Joseph Boakai is going to lose this election, one, Joseph Boakai failed to transfer his work experience from one position to another. He couldn't do that. The second thing Joseph Boakai could not do is to defend his personal record. Wherever Joe Boakai worked before he joined Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, when you listen to Joe Boakai campaign messages, he has not been able to tell the Liberian people why he needs to be elected as president. Neither has he told the Liberian people how successful he has been in the roles that he played as a political leader. The third reason here is Joe Boakai also served as the 29th vice president to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Everything they did for 12 years, Joe Boakai again has been unable to tell the difference between he and Ellen 12 years their deliverable compared to George Weah's 6 years. There's nothing Joe Boakai has been able to do. That equates to the same message that he had in 2017. I mean, forget the crowd. You can see the crowd here and there. They're not going to vote for Joe Boakai. People in Liberia only feel very happy to be with people out there. They want to be part of history. They enjoy the pleasure. So when Joe Boakai shows up, people will always go to turn out just to be part of that turnout history. But as far as Joe Boakai to be the next president, that's not going to happen. This election is going to bring Joe Boakai campaign, Joe Boakai aspiration for the presidencies to an end. You don't have to take my word for it, folks. You don't have to take my word for it. But for those of you who believe in my projection, in my prediction, in my analysis, just be prepared for the side news and feel sorry for those who are behind Joe Boakai, because Joe Boakai is not going to win any election. I'm saying it here tonight, and I want you to remember it. Today is September the 26th, 2023. It is 9:52, and I'm telling you that Joe Boakai is not going to win this election. And that's why I say I can't believe Joe Boakai has already conceded to defeat already. Joe Boakai has conceded to defeat already. There's nothing that Joe Boakai is going to tell the Liberian people that he's going to win. The only thing I ask the CDC folks to do is to continue to remain resolute, focus on the territory, focus on the community, focus on the messages, keep pushing the president deliverable. But as far as Joe Boakai goes, he is not going to be president of Liberia because he has performed poorly. And I encourage you guys to share the video. Share the video. It's already on YouTube. I'm making a revelation here today. It's going to be on YouTube. Yes, he's not going to win anything. All right? Now, let's go into a few details here. Yeah, let's go into a few details. Because by next week, it will just be one more week. When we get into next week, which is coming very soon. Because tomorrow is Wednesday, right? Yes, tomorrow is Wednesday. So by the time we reach to the 30th, which will be the 30th, all right? The 30th is going to be on Saturday. This week, Saturday. Starting on the 1st of October, we only got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. I don't know whether campaign will take place on the 8th or on the 9th. It's over. The election campaign is over. And Joe Boakai was not able to convince the Liberian people as to why he should be elected. Let's look at a few things here, because this is a very sad day for the Unity Party. Very sad day. You guys will come back here and you will tell me, say, J. Randy, you were absolutely right. And I want you guys who are on here today to be part of history. So I'm going to be calling names here tonight. I'm going to be calling names. Because I want, when we play the video again, I want you to hear your name and say, yes, I was there when J. Randy called my name. I heard it. I heard it. And you're going to be part of history. So do yourself a favor and share this video. I am telling you tonight, I cannot believe Joseph Boakai has conceded to defeat already. He is not going to win this election. Why? He never had any message for the Liberian people to convince them that who he was in 2017 is not who he is in 2023. Joe Boakai had performed poorly in his election campaign, most especially in his campaign messages. Let's look at some facts here. From the beginning of our time in our discussion, we mentioned, all right, we mentioned that this election will look at the character of people. In 2017, Joe Boakai said he will park a race car in the garage. That's why he told the Liberian people. He will park as a race car in the garage. Let me say hi to Rita Samuel. Let me say hi to Bidel Joey. Let me say hi to Sophie Blamo. And then Ulrike Rambo. Let me say hi to every one of you guys. And thank you guys so much. I can't see every one of you guys, but I'm sure over time you guys will pop up. I'm seeing more names than I'm seeing more numbers than the names I'm seeing right now. But your name will come up gradually because there's a delay in the broadcast. The reason Joe Boakai is not going to be president, it's not because the people don't like him. It's because Joe Boakai has no message to change what he came with in 2017. It's the same message that he cannot even convey to the people of Liberia in 2023. We all know that Joe Boakai, all right? We know that Joe Boakai worked in the Tubble administration. Yes. We know that Joe Boakai worked in the Tubble administration. Let me just try to get myself off the screen here. Good. So tonight we're going to start breaking down because the campaign season is winding down now. And we have to start to provide our post-election analysis based on the campaign. And I'm starting it now because there's nothing Joe Boakai can do from now to next week, Saturday, to convince anybody. There's nothing. So because he has ran out of time, we just have to let people know here. Number one, you now understand from our campaign, from our platform in regards to the campaign, you are aware that Joseph Boakai political career or public service career, it started in 1973. In 1973, that when his political or his public service campaign started. He served as resident manager from 1973 to 1980. That was 7 years over there. And then when Doe took office in 1980, Doe gave him an elevation. Doe promoted him from managing director or from manager to a managing director. We have said this time in time just to make sure that you remember Joe Boakai. So from 1980 to 1982, Joseph Boakai served as managing director for LPMC. Now, when you listen to Joe Boakai over this period of time, how many weeks now? Let's count the weeks here. All right, so we can be more specific with our numbers here. The campaign was declared open on August the 5th. So we have August the 12th, that's 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, 5, 6, 7. This coming Saturday, September the 30th, will make it exactly 8 weeks. 8 weeks. And what do we say? 4 weeks, May 1 month, right? So within a 2-month time, with 1 more week left, that will make it roughly about 9 weeks. Within the period of 8 weeks, Joseph Boakai has been unable to explain to the Liberian people when he served as resident manager and as managing director at LPMC. That was a responsibility that he was given. What did he do in terms of program? How successful the program became and who benefited from the program? And what did he learn that he will bring to the presidency? Joseph Boakai from 1973 to 1982 worked at LPMC. This man is unable to tell anybody, and that includes the people around him, what successful story that he can present in that role. Joe Boakai has been unable to provide that. In a very short period, you will listen to Joe Boakai messages. We have it here for you. But I just want you to understand, the reason I'm telling you that Joe Boakai will not be elected as president is not because the people don't like him. It is because Joe Boakai has no message to convince the people of Liberia what he will do. And one is his failure to tell a successful story while he was at LPMC. Between 1983 to 1985, Samuel Kayando took Joe Boakai from being a managing director, and Samuel Kayando gave Joe Boakai the Ministry of Agriculture. There were a lot of responsibility that Joe Boakai was in charge of. They had the Agricultural Cooperative Development Bank, the ACDB. They had the Carey Institute in Bangabong County. The LPMC was also a subset reporting to Joe Boakai. And the ministry was so vital, even today is also vital to the survivability of our country. And as Joe Boakai campaigned for the past 8 weeks, Joe Boakai has not been able to convince you, me, or anybody out there what specifically and what program did he implement in the agricultural sector. The full administration, all right? The full agricultural administration, or organization rather, the FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, and an annex or an extension of the United Nations, or a subcategory of the United Nations on food safety. Joe Boakai cannot tell you why he served as Minister of Agriculture under Doe for 2 years. What did he do for that ministry? What did he do to help Samuel Kayando vision? Because Doe had his agricultural vision that he called Green Revolution. What program did Joe Boakai implemented that brought to light, that promoted the vision of Samuel Kayando? Who benefited? And how successful the program was? Joe Boakai is yet to tell you guys what he did. Folks, we are looking at Joe Boakai record and we are analyzing it. We are giving you a timeline background of Joe Boakai record. What you're looking at right now are function and responsibility that Joe Boakai was in charge of. And as you listen to Joe Boakai over the 8 weeks, Joe Boakai had not been able to link any successful story, responsibility, to what you are looking at right now. But he served, and we gave that to him. He was a public servant. But what we cannot hear from Joe Boakai is how successful in each role was he, and what benefit did the people get. These are the failures of Joe Boakai that would be the reason why he will not be elected. Because in 2017, Joe Boakai could not provide any substantial reason to be elected based on his past experience in the different roles. By 1992, Amos Sawyer, under the interim government, appointed Joe Boakai as managing director of LPRC. Yet again, Joe Boakai was unable to make any successful story to tell you today how well he did. Now, those of you who had the opportunity to listen to Joe Boakai, when you listen to Joe Boakai discussing national issue that involve the sectors that every ministry, agency supposed to perform at their best, and the role that Joe Boakai is trying to vie for, that is the presidential role of the country. If the man cannot explain the individual roles that prior president or previous president assigned him, he cannot tell you his successful story in each era of assignment, what make Joe Boakai to be eligible to do anything? This wouldn't speak to one thing, that Joe Boakai has no political credit. He has no political credit to be anything in our country. He has no political credit. Let me ask you guys this question. If you have served in this role or in these roles today, after all this year, and you are given the opportunity to speak to today's generation, knowing fully well that you occupy this position you're looking at here right now, what would be your punchline? What would be your central message? You will begin to tell the younger generation how well you excel in these various roles, what program you put in place, how successful the program became, and how it turned things around, both in the social economic side of things and on the improvement of community across the country. But Joseph Boakai is unable to tell anyone what he did in the role or in his role. The only thing you hear Joe Boakai telling you is that don't fire him for political reason. Amos Sawyer fire him for political reason. Why he failed to tell you, and I want you to really focus on that, why he blaming Doe. Look at what Doe did for him when he took office or he took over the government. Doe took him from a resident manager and made him a managing director, and also promoted him to Minister of Agriculture. And today, Joe Boakai will look at all the positive things, and then he will turn around and say, don't fire him for political reason. My brothers and sisters out there, listen to my voice. Please do not listen to Joe Boakai. Let me say hi to my brother Toyo Harris here. I would like to say thank you very much, Toyo Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, for those of you that don't know, Toyo Harris is a DNA seditious. That's the only description I can give of him. Toyo Harris is a DNA seditious. That's who he is. That's who he is. So, Brother Toyo Harris, I would like to say thank you so much for joining here. We are coming to the wire now of this election, and I'm making my revelation that Joe Boakai is not going to win the election. The same poll record campaign Joe Boakai ran in 2017, he had done far more worse than what he managed to achieve that led him to his defeat in 2017. This time around, maybe because of some medical reason, but Joe Boakai has been very poor. And in this campaign on my platform, I want Liberians to clearly understand that the defeat that Joe Boakai is going to go through, it has nothing to do with his age. It has nothing to do with what he putting out there. What I want you guys to understand is Joe Boakai's political career started in 1980, where he was given opportunity by Doe, and by the early 90s, he was also given opportunity by Dr. Sawyer. None of these roles that Joe Boakai served is a successful story for him today. None. As I was saying before I greeted my brother Toyo Harris, which one of you listening to me right now, if you were to serve in one of these roles, what would have been your story today? I believe it will be a successful story that will convince people. Like I told you guys yesterday, when you look at Mary Brown, let's just use Mary Brown as an example. Those of you who saw Mary Brown while she worked at the passport division, the job she did over there, when she went to the Monrovia City Hall, the performance she put on display, if Mary Brown ever decided to vie for any position, what she did at that ministry and at the Monrovia City Hall would be a record that she would be able to run on. How disciplined, how successful the program that she implemented. You're looking at Joe Boakai past record, individual roles, and Joe Boakai is unable to convince anybody out there that this is what he managed to do. This campaign, as I told you guys, in late July, early August, that this campaign on my platform, we are going to look at three important things. One, we're going to look at the character of every candidate. We're going to look at the problem in the country or the issue. And then we'll be looking at the solution. Who will provide a solution to change the direction of the country? And we want to hear from our political candidates what they are going to say as it relates to the issue and what solution. Joe Boakai should be the one that's supposed to come up with so many solutions. Because when you look at what you are looking at right now, let me sound double negative here. When you look at what you are looking at right now, and I'm not making mistakes, I'm serious about it to draw your attention, especially your listening attention. When you're looking at what I'm looking at right now, where Joe Boakai from 1980 to 1992 served in his individual roles, if this man is not able to tell you a successful story, there should be no reason why anyone should argue the case. Now, let's move on to the next row. Let's move to the next row here. Let us move to the next row. This is Joe Boakai here. Joseph Boakai served as the 29th Vice President of Liberia from 2006 to 2018 under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And folks, all these things you see here is not coming from my own make-up story. I did the research and everything came out of Joe Boakai's own profile. Information that Joe Boakai provided under his profile. This is where this information coming from. That's the source of the information. And as many of you will recall, he was with Ellen from 2006 to 2018. When Joe Boakai tell you say he was part as an old car, well, we are here to tell you that that was not true. Joe Boakai was never parked. He was more active, changing his oil, changing his brakes. That car was running perfectly. The only thing the driver they had, he was not efficient at all. Let's begin to dig into that. During Joe Boakai 12 years with Ellen, he presided over the plenary section of the Liberian Senate. 2 days each week. And you guys know exactly what happened there, right? All the concession deals that were signed, Joe Boakai presided over those things. Now, why am I bringing this up? I told you that this election, in our eyes on the platform, we'll look at the individual performance. We'll look at the solution they provided to the issue and what direction. When you look at Joe Boakai providing oversight over plenary section, and you understand that Joe Boakai was part of the 66 Bookers deal and never registered any disagreement with what went on, to come back and say the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, who provide oversight over the Senate plenary section, reached out to his boss and disagreed with one or two concessions. Joe Boakai never did none of those things. So what does that mean? It means that Joe Boakai agreed to all the concessions that were signed. But the question here is, why when Joe Boakai is on the stage campaigning, aside from Ellen policy from the executive side, where every ministry and agency expectation supposed to provide deliverable, when the executive work along with the national legislature, it is called legislative agenda, legislative accomplishment. So with that being said, let me ask you, when Joe Boakai is on the platform discussing his campaign and what he hoped to do, even though he got nothing to do, why Joe Boakai cannot talk about he and Ellen legislative accomplishment? Because by right, Joe Boakai should come out and say, look, you see the 66 deal we signed? That is our government, the Unity Party-led government. We made things very successful in the country here. It was not just the ministry and agency policy that make things better. We also work with the House of the Senate and the House of the Representatives to get some legislative agreement, deal signed. Why Joe Boakai up to now hasn't come out to tell you what are some of the legislative agenda that became a successful story today for the Ellen and Boakai administration that Joe Boakai can talk about. Because as you can see, between 2006 and 2018, Joseph Boakai presided over the plenary session 2 days each week. Why Joe Boakai up to now cannot come out to tell you. Folks, we are defining Joe Boakai based on his function. We are letting you know that as vice president, these are the responsibilities that Joe Boakai was in charge of. As individual, we already show you what Joe Boakai did as individual. All these lists of things that I'm showing you are the reason why Joe Boakai will always tell you, I have 45 years of experience. But what will the 45-year experience do as we go through this and see the function and responsibility of Joe Boakai? When Joe Boakai is yet to tell you a successful story, it is yet to tell you any successful story. Now let's come down to the second paragraph. So aside from providing oversight over the plenary section of the Senate every 2 days in a week, Joe Boakai also provided supervisory role and function over several institutions and agencies. At least to mention few, the Liberal National Libraries. Today in America here, the library gone up. Do you know what happened to that library money? That money, if the government get more back, that is, if nobody win for every draw, and after the draw ends, whoever win and they take out taxes, that money is used to uplift poorer community and carry on other projects. When Joe Boakai provided supervisory role over these things, what was his suggestion? What did he provide in terms of oversight or any recommendation that he can be proud of today in his election campaign and say, look, as far as my direct involvement, I also play a supervisory role working along with the Liberal National Libraries. And there were times that I suggested, made recommendation that whatever the library gained, and that thing was going to do X, Y, Z, but I said we should do it this way. There's nothing. The next thing you see here is the LMA, right? Liberal Marketing Association. This is a sister to the Liberal Produce Marketing Corporation, LPMC. What did Joseph Boakai in any other meeting? What did he suggest? What did he do? What recommendation he made to the Liberal Marketing Association? Have you seen the marketing association leaders coming out today to say these are the things that Joe Boakai did for us during early time? Absolutely not. Now look at the third one, Liberal Agency for Community Empowerment. That is one of the most powerful one. Why? Agency for Community Empowerment. When you listen to Joe Boakai telling you that, oh, children are sitting in the street, parents are catching hard time, the question you should be asking yourself now that you know that Joe Boakai also provided supervisory function when it comes to the Liberal Agency for Community Empowerment. How many communities in the country today, ladies and gentlemen, that Joe Boakai, whenever he speaks out there, will tell you that he did successfully? The reason Joe Boakai is calling himself rescuer, is because Joe Boakai damaged the country. Joe Boakai not supposed to be calling himself rescue. Joe Boakai is supposed to be calling himself the performer. Joe Boakai the performer. Because if Joe Boakai had performed in the past, there will be no reason for him to say he's the rescuer. What is Joe Boakai going to rescue that George Weah had not been rescuing since he took office? So when Joe Boakai tells you he's coming to rescue, yes, they squander a lot of opportunity. He underperformed in all his capacity that was given to him. The only thing Joe Boakai can prove to you guys that he did is nothing but merrymaking. This is what Joe Boakai was doing throughout. Absolutely nothing but merrymaking. That's the only thing that Joe Boakai is proud of today. Now, without further delay, we have provided enough information. Now, let's go and listen to Joe Boakai and hear what he has to say in regards to his message. You have been voted and engaged. We have passed down enough background of Joseph Boakai. And I want you to take that background and responsibility and let's listen to Joe Boakai here. You will imagine how Joe Boakai take to the platform, to the podium. Joe Boakai will start to tell you about his successful story from his individual role, providing public services, how successful it was, why should the people believe in him based on his past record. Because people will often say your past performance will determine your future performance. Let's listen to Joe Boakai here and hear what he has to say. Whether this message that Joe Boakai is about to present align with his past experience. Let's listen to him.
I want to thank you. When we are called Mo Ali to say that I said in one of my statements that if he is really elected, this country will be finished. So pull up the music, pull up the music. Please off the music, pull up the music. The country is not houses, it's not trees, it is about people. For the last 6 years, has your life been better? Has the people of Liberia life been better? Have we had medical facilities for even any part of our country, sustained medical facilities? The young people.
Now, let me hold you guys right there, right? So, Joe Boakai is drawing comparison, which is good. Which is good. So, when Joe Boakai asks the people out there, are you better for the past 6 years? And the people say no. By the principle of comparison, what you think Joe Boakai should be using now as a way to promote himself? Your guess is as good as mine. Joe Boakai should say, you see, for the past 12 years, you saw how better your life was, right? On Ellen and myself. For the past 12 years, you saw how many medical facilities you guys enjoy here. Did you hear Joe Boakai mentioning something like that? The answer is no. The answer is no. But the next question is why? Because Joe Boakai and Ellen did not do anything for the people. So there's no way that Joe Boakai can draw a leadership comparison. So what does he do? He feeds on what Weah has done, but try to turn it into a negative energy. But he is the one who has the negative energy. So when Joe Boakai in any campaign message try to compare, you should also understand there is something called contrast. He doesn't have that. He wants to list things that he believes, and that is not true, that the Liberian people did not enjoy for 6 years. But the question is, how many things of the list of questions he asking did the Liberian people enjoy under he and Ellen for 12 years? Let's listen to Joe Boakai and see. When he says something about the 6 years of the Liberian people under George Weah, we should be expecting him to bring in he and Ellen record and how better the record has been or is than the Weah record. Let's listen.
Who have graduated? Are they in school? Are they working? You saw that they said about the people who have worked when you work for years and you retire. the time for you to have benefit, you had to complain. Instead of their salary, their benefits improving, they are declining. So when I say finish, it means that for the rest of the time, there's no hope for anybody here.
So what hope did Joe Boakai had? What hope did he and Ellen give to the Liberian people? Absolutely nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely nothing. This man you're looking at here got no campaign message. He got no record to run on. He has no credibility. Joe Boakai lack of anything that anybody would need. Let's take a quick commercial here and let's listen to this guy here. I think he's the uncle of J. Randy. Let's listen to him here a little bit.
You must be over there thinking that Joe Boakai going to rescue you. Joe Boakai know that somebody can rescue somebody. 1 minute in the hospital, you know what can in the hospital. I can somebody rescue you when you got under pressure. Hey, have my fault, you got to know that somebody can rescue you. Some of you guys are very fucked up. Some of you guys are fucked up. Joe Boakai that somebody rescue somebody. Yeah. Sometimes you can misapply these words there, but it's understandable. Because some of you guys have never had the opportunity to see real rescuer that will rescue you for a better good time or better opportunity. Joe Boakai know that somebody that rescue. Look at him. You really need to take a look at Joe Boakai. Does that man know that? Do you see that man that know that somebody that rescue somebody you got? Rescue. Just stop me using the word, man. Joe Boakai is nothing. Joe Boakai is nothing.
And that's true. That is absolutely true. 12 years in power. This man cannot convince you what he did successfully in all the individual role he had. He cannot provide any result that surpasses our accomplishment. He cannot. All he's standing out to do is to blame. But now one day he says something. Let's listen to the president here because we are pressed with time. Let's listen to the president and hear what the president has to say. Let's listen to George Weah here. All right? Let's take our time and listen to the president here.
Because when I came to you, I was nobody. You make me somebody. I came to you according to I was just a mere footballer. What footballer can do for you? But you said, let us try the footballer. You tried me. Today, you can see the unprecedented development from the footballer Kennedy that you brought on board.
Let me hold that statement right there. This is what we call a well-designed measure statement. President Weah came into public relevance in 2005. He attempted, it was not successful. He attempted 011, it was not successful. By 2015, he became a public servant. Few years later, he became president. Today, he's on the campaign trail. And he's laying down his work based on how he had been given the opportunity. People overlook him, but look at the development. So he already set the tone and the topic as to what he's going to focus on in terms of the accomplishment. When you listen to Joe Boakai, do you hear something like that from Joe Boakai? Look, my friend, let me say this to you guys listening to me out there. And I'm sorry for not showing my face because I really want you guys to see the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is looking at Joe Boakai failed record and looking at how George Weah's success is built on his progress. But I will show my face later on. You see, people often look at Joe Boakai and say, oh, the man is an old man, the man got experience. No. Your age does not define how wise you are. Your age does not define how experienced you are. The only thing your age does for you is to tell us how long you've been on the face of the planet. And Joe Boakai is a prime example of that. Joe Boakai is the oldest politician right now within our country. But he's not wise. And he had no experience. He cannot tell you what experience he got when he worked at a different institution. He cannot tell you what he and Ellen did successfully. So the 42 years that he talked about is just a number, but there is no applicable reason, data to show how successful he is. So when it comes to numbers, Joe Boakai only got more numbers, but when it comes to experience and defining those numbers, it just shows how long he been in government and did nothing, and it just shows how old he is to tell you and I that he's older than us. So Joe Boakai age means nothing to convince anybody to elect him as president. Joe Boakai 57 years in public service, 45 years individual role, and then 12 years with Ellen, a grand total of 57 years is just a number, but there is no successful story behind the stool. So Joe Boakai age means nothing. Joe Boakai number of years in public service mean nothing. And that's why when I said, Joe Boakai, you are nothing. Joe Boakai, you are nothing. That's exactly what I meant. Let's listen to that.
Rescue somebody. Yeah. Sometimes you can misapply these words there, but it's understandable. Because some of you guys have never had the opportunity to see real rescuer that will rescue you for a better good time or better opportunity. Joe Boakai know there's somebody that rescue. Look at him. You really need to take a look at Joe Boakai. Does that man know that? Do you see that man and know that somebody that rescue somebody you got? rescue. Just stop me using the word, man. Joe Boakai is nothing. Joe Boakai is nothing.
And that's what I was trying to say. So let's get back to the president here again. Remember, the president laid the tune and said, they said I was just a mere footballer. But when you look around at my development, now that you are up to speed, let's continue to listen to the president here.
Now the president of the Republic of Liberia, simply because of you, I'm called president. And I want to thank you. I want to thank your parents that at some point, a lot of our family was upset, angry, because they all thought that their children were leading into a destiny that have no future. But I'm happy that the parents now understand that those children that they drove away from their homes, today some of them are ministers, they are mayors, and directors in this government. But I'm glad because our parents understand now our quest for leadership makes our country what has been spoiled for these long years. Liberia is 176 years old since independence. Today you can see in the 5 years we are building our country, stabilizing our economy. We can boast today that we have free education in our school and in our country. We can boast. Our problems, they said to us in our generation that we need to prepare ourselves, but they did not give us the opportunity to have free school. And we, in our era, we are saying to you, prepare yourself for the future. That's why we give you free education. So no one will tag you like they tag me.
Let me hold you right there. You see the comparison that President Weah is giving? The president is giving a character reference of many disenchanted Liberians. That include me, that include your parents, your grandparents, who many across the country never acquire any form of education. So as president, he saw the poor experience that our people went through. And that is why he is saying to the crowd out there and to you out here now that whatever I went through, whatever other people went through, it was a very bad experience. And once the opportunity is given to me, and I have that power, and I have that blessing from God, I'm not going to allow that to happen to you guys and the other coming generation. And that is why I made public education free. Now it is up to you to make up your mind to go in that direction. Ladies and gentlemen, is it going to be perfect? No. But is it getting better? Absolutely right. Absolutely freaking right. Why? Because back in the days, those opportunities were not easy to get. And that is why the president deserves a second chance. When you listen to Joe Boakai, a man who claimed to be from Foya or wherever he is, and he knows very well that there are many uneducated people from different parts of the counties that are outside of Mosorado County. And people have been disenchanted, disenfranchised across many communities and counties, all because of lack of poor policy. When you listen to the president telling you, giving you a practical example, an empathic example, something that affected him, and he telling you that that is why I want to change. Look, friends, I often tell you guys during the campaign here, what did I say here for the three things? We look at the character of the candidate. In the case we're looking at President Weah, we look at the issue, and the issue he's focusing on right now, the poor educational policy that deny many Liberians of opportunity, and the solution now that he said he providing public education free of charge. And what the direction? It is moving many Liberians going into illiteracy. Now it's taking Liberians into literacy. That is a perfect description of what we have been talking about here. I'm not saying this thing because I want to gain relevance here. We are basing our conclusion based on our analysis, principles, and indicators that we set from the beginning of this campaign or before the launching of the campaign. Let's listen to the president here making those policies to be a reality here today, folks. You are listening to the J. Randy's platform here. This is the platform where we look at the issue, we look at the solution, and we look at the direction of that solution that comes directly from the candidates. We just listened to Joe Boakai, and we never knew where we were with Joe Boakai, but we clearly understand that Joe Boakai is an individual that got no political credits to be president, and he is not a political material. Let's listen to the president here.
You heard everyone is not educated simply because they struggle to go to school. But today, they will not say that to you. And that's why we're preparing you.
That's the direction there. That is the direction. You see, when they look at George Weah and many Liberians and say you are not educated, the past people, including Boakai and Ellen, they never decided to change the course of providing free education, providing opportunity. They maintain that direction of putting many Liberian generation into the wrong direction. But now when you hear the president say, I was too a victim, but that will not happen to you. When you hear him say that will not happen to you, that is the direction, which is the third component of our political indicators to determine a good candidate. Because we say what? We look at the character of the candidate, we look at how they discuss the issue, the solution they provide, that hit the direction. And that's exactly what the president is doing. He's right in where we want things to be. Every politician in the United States, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Great Britain, in South Africa, in Ghana, that politician, that candidate, principal responsibility or primary responsibility is to look at the issue affecting the people, the community, the counties, or the region, and the entire country, and begin to break it down with solution. And those solutions should be able to change the direction and put it in a positive direction that will begin to reshape the minds, life, community, and the country. And that's what the man is doing here with the educational system here today. Let me progress here.
Let us not confuse ourselves. The reason we follow people is because of the good things that they achieve and they have done. This government have done much. You voted for us.
Let me hold you right there. 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 All right? Let me hold you right there. Do you know why when George Weah say the reason you follow people is because of what they have done? When you look at Denzel Washington here,
born killers, spit upon, his house burned, risking death over.
When you listen to Denzel Washington, a very and highly respected man in the movie industry, and the character he plays that gave him an exceptional responsibility and respect in his country. When this man take upon himself and call George Weah to one of the greatest platform or community of actors, highly well-respected actors, do you think what George Weah just said, that people who are making great strides to change people's lives, don't you see the connection? You think Denzel Washington would just call George Weah like that? No! Because Denzel Washington saw the tremendous change that this man has done. Let's listen to Denzel here a little bit here.
Over again, George Weah has nonetheless gone home again and again and again. His relentless message of hope defies reason in an age of mindless terror and bottomless hatred. But this is a man born to be a striker, born to finish what he starts. George Weah refuses to close his eyes, and George Weah will never, ever let us forget how much work there is left to do.
Let's hold it right there. When Joe Boakai talked about election will be rigged and there will be war, those are one of the reasons why Joe Boakai will never be president in our country. Because what you just listened to Denzel Washington mention are part of the reason why Joe Boakai over the weekend made a reckless statement here.
That's why you have to protect it. If you think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country.
Can you imagine that? Now, I want you to contemplate on what Denzel Washington said. That George Weah is a striker. He never going to back down. And he kept going back to Liberia. Do you know what era Denzel Washington was describing? Let's go back to Denzel Washington video again and see what he said about George Weah here. Let's listen here. Now that you listen to Joe Boakai, who want to take the country back to where we came from, to where George Weah rescued the country. When you listen to Denzel Washington and listen to the crap that Joe Boakai just said, do you see any substance or truth in there? Let's go back to reality here. This is not a dream, folks. This is the reality here.
I'm 16 years old. I born 1988, October 22nd. I was a leader. I was major. I used to lead 31 men every day to the front. Yeah, I'm tired of fighting now because there is no answer to war. I want peace for everlasting. I want for peace to be in the country for everlasting.
It began in 1980 with an assassination and violent coup d'etat. The government, in place for 133 years, was overthrown. And for over 2 decades thereafter, Liberia was overcome by civil war. Millions were displaced. The landscape was ravaged by poverty and disease. Hundreds of thousands were killed, including nearly an entire generation of children who had been drugged, beaten, and brainwashed to serve in the murderous campaigns of warlords.
The children here in Liberia have suffered enormously. Many of the kids, they've never done anything except hold an AK-47.
You see this guy here, John Blenny? Let me just hold it tape right here. You see guys like Allen White? Those guys are opportunists. They are the least people in America here that never understood what George Weah did to bring peace to the country. When you listen to guys like Allen White standing or sitting before some few congressional people and putting lies together, you know what? I don't blame someone like Allen White. I blame the weak opposition Liberians who just believe that there's nothing that they can do with their God-given brain but go through somebody who is an opportunist. Allen White is nothing but an opportunist. When you look at John W. Blenny here, the third, these are people, all right, and others who really understood the job that George Weah did. Do you think Congress is going to listen to Allen White talking that bullshit over there? Look, Congress got the ear to hear. They say never refuse a message or the messenger, but always give your time to listen to them. The people at Congress, they just listen to those things because it is part of their responsibility. All right? So let's make progress here, folks.
And take lives.
We think maybe even up to 15,000 children have been involved in this war. They don't know where their mothers and fathers are, don't know where their brothers and sisters are. They are so angry about the war, they are so tired, they know the opportunities they've missed, and they want a future.
There was a light in Liberia that shined before and through the darkness. A game that offered a way to forget the war, and for one man, a way to rise above it altogether. George Weah grew up here, abandoned by his parents. He was one of 14 children raised by his grandmother. The only education he ever received was in the angles and artistry of soccer. His only classroom a dusty pitch near his home. And he quickly progressed from student to master of the game.
He scored! Wheelhouse cross, and where is it?
His people would...
Guys, do you feel the energy? I'm not lying to you guys. The story that as it's been narrated, the old voice you're hearing there is nobody else but Denzel Washington. And as he tells this story, do you feel the chill? Do you feel your muscles moving in your body? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling that right now. This video is never old. It is not old because it still reflects today. When you listen to Joe Boakai telling that they will be the end of the country if he doesn't win any election. And this particular video, when Joe Boakai made that statement, it re-energizes this video again. That he's trying to accuse a man who lived for nothing else but to bring peace to Liberia. That is why Joe Boakai is not going to be president in our country. Let's make progress here.
Come to call him King George, a title befitting the greatest player Africa ever produced.
Delivered into the net by Weah.
He rose to stardom at home and then internationally. In 1995, he became the only man ever to win the African, European, and World Player of the Year awards in the same year. Famous, rich, and revered, he was distanced from his embattled homeland by miles and stature.
When he called from afar for UN intervention, the consequence was immediate and personal.
Oh yes, his house was looted, his cousin raped, and other family of his were affected. And as a result, They fled, went into exile.
Now, when you hear that kind of tragic story, did you hear Alexander Cummings family member name in there? Did you hear Joseph Boakai family name in there? And by the way, who are those behind the kind of brutal war? Prince Johnson. And who Prince Johnson supporting today? Joe Boakai. When you see the war, what reminds you of General Bonneke? And who is General Bonneke supporting today? Joe Boakai. Do you now see why these guys want to take the country behind? Because Joe Boakai is taking side with people who don't believe that a fair democratic rules. Joe Boakai enjoyed 12 years, 2 terms of election. George, we have never mentioned anything about the country going to be destroyed. But because Joe Boakai comes from a party that steal and cheated, that's why he's having that feeling. But guess what? Joe Boakai is nobody. All right? He is nobody. Let's listen to Jay Randy here and let him add his voice to that.
Boakai talking about election would be stolen. Ain't nobody going to steal any election in that country. The old man is nothing. A man who got floored by George Weah in 2017, a man who was homebound, a man who is a medical liability, a man who is a total disaster. Who going to steal election from Joe Boakai? If I make that letter, that means to look relevant. Joe Boakai, you nothing in that town. You nothing. Everybody know you nothing, Joe Boakai. So don't be wasting your time. You nothing. Look at that behind you. Most of them they get fucked on all the behind you for. But Joe Boakai, you are nothing. Who can tell you can go steal election? Nobody going to even give you the number you're looking for. Man, let's put Joe Boakai here, man.
Let's get back to George. We are here.
Liberia has been such chaos and confusion, and it has affected George. The scars are pretty deep.
In these years, it was very difficult for me, coming from practice every day, watching television, Liberia on the news, people running away, people dying. So what I said to myself was, look, what can I do to better the situation in my country? I felt that Liberia is my country. That's my country. I must come back.
In 1997, at the height of the war, George Weah did come back, welcomed as a conquering hero. He supported the national soccer team with over $2 million of his own money. As a player and coach, he led the Lone Star to within 1 win of a World Cup berth in 2001, reviving the pride and hope that had been lost in Liberia for over a decade.
We started it together, we have to finish it.
The team served as a unifying force within that time. Rebel groups, warring factions. Whenever Lone Star was playing, they stopped fighting and then just glued to the TV and glued to the radio.
But the war continued. Still, Weah did not retreat to the safety and celebrity of his athletic life. The world's greatest striker stayed home and made peace his priority.
George Weah kept sport prevailing, no matter what was happening in Liberia. And he knows that he has a chance, with his international stardom, to actually keep the focus here for us a bit longer.
In December of 2003, a truce was declared, and Weah's efforts in Liberia have extended to saving lives.
So you guys can have a building for the children to go to school.
He now continues his struggle to restore the country, one child at a time.
Being with them, live with them, eat with them, play with them, I will know exactly what is going on. This is reality. I can run for reality. Every Liberian loves sports. So I know sports can play a vital role in the country, in our peace process, and sports can help the discipline the kids to unify them. Don't you go?
Through soccer, there's reconciliation, that you can work out aggression, you can work out competition, but you do it within a legitimized structure, that it's talent that ultimately makes the decision here. And that's why George Weah is a symbol.
You are just listening to Jack Klein, when you listen to a guy like Alan White talking bullshit about George Weah government, talking bullshit that there are ritualistic killing in our country, do you know how far back we had ritualistic killing in our country? Alan White is just another sycophant in the United States here that got nothing to stand for. And he thinks that the colonial days of where everybody looked up to him is different now. The rule changed, the game changed, or the game changed, the rule changed. That nonsense thing that Alan White talking is not going to hold, because this video is not showing George Weah to be a troublemaker. This video is showing how George Weah saved the jobs of many UN consultant employees because they couldn't find no solution to the Liberian problem. And guess who they went for? George Weah. It works. And you know what they took that same logic again? During the Ivorian civil crisis, they went for Didier Drogba. And that's somebody that Alan White, who was never part of the peace that he and the good for nothing politician enjoying today. You think the United States are going to listen to them? You watch and see. Alan White will live in our country. He will see the good work of George Weah, and one day you have to confess to the truth. But we know who he are. Who he is. He's nothing but a blood-seeking sycophant who goes around just to want to make life for himself from the opposition. He doesn't even understand the history. I think it will be better. I can say for a fact, I don't think Alan White have really sat down to watch this particular documentary that you are watching here today. And I hope that the opposition will take the video to him and let him sit down and look at it. A good for nothing hustler in the town here. That may progress here, folks.
That you can do it, that there is hope.
Peace to Liberia. Peace to Liberia. Free education. Free education. The sound. I want to say thanks to you all. God bless you. And I'll always come back.
He came back because it was home. He stays because helping Liberia is now his life. Evil men had forced the children to act as weapons of war.
And that Prince Johnson, and that General Bodneke, and that's what Joe Boakai wants to do. Evil people force people to do things on their behalf. When you listen to Joe Boakai saying that, oh, if they take the election here, they steal it, they will be the end of the country. Those words are coming from the belly of the devil, and back to the belly of the devil shall it go. Joe Boakai should be very ashamed of himself to make such a comment over there. No wonder why he got those very people who took our people back, our country back to war. To war. He wanted those people to come and take the country back to war. But the good thing from this, George Weah said he will always be coming back, and his role is to ensure that Liberians live a better life. And that's what he continued to do. Let's listen to the remaining part.
An honorable man has invited them to serve as instruments of peace.
If you make a stand in this world, what you find is soon you aren't one man, you have a crowd around you. And I think that George has managed to rally people to the cause of peace, stability, and to the future of Liberia.
He represents the glory, he represents the aspiration, he inspires.
It's an overwhelming responsibility that he has, but he bears it very well. He came back at the time.
In the picture here, I see Alexander coming there. I see Joseph Boakai there. I see Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Before I would even say Joseph Boakai. They were nowhere around. Those guys were a bunch of cowards. Cowards!
Of disarmament, kept his promise. He's making other promises, and I know he will come back and keep those promises again.
The international community is here to help us. But what can we do for ourselves?
Thank you. What can we do for ourselves? And that how come the last time he said, when will we learn to do the thing for ourselves? You see, George Weah is building his statement block by block. Many years ago, the international community is here to help us. What can we do to help ourselves? Many years later down the road, he came out and said, when will we learn to do things by ourselves? This man, no matter how other people take him, my criticism and observation of him, he is very consistent in how he conducts himself and how he put words out there. But there are few people in the country who feel that, oh, without them, nothing should work in our country. But you know what? The devil will come for them one by one.
What will we do to protect our nation? What will we do to educate our kids? What can we do to bring about peace within ourselves?
You see, people who want to find solution, they will always come with question. People who just want to benefit, they will always come with things that to say that make no sense. When you listen to this man asking more questions, that means that there are more problems in the country and he's looking for a solution. When last have you listened to Boakai, wherever he stands, and pick that mic to talk? Is he asking more questions or is he just there blaming people? Boakai is always in the business of blaming people. The only person Boakai will never blame is himself. He blamed Doe for political reasons, he got fired. He blamed Amos Sawyer for political reasons, he got fired. He blamed Ellen for not supporting him. He blamed the Liberian people for not supporting him. There is nobody Joe Boakai will blame, but anybody who gave him the opportunity and he underperformed, he tend to blame those people. Let's listen to the president here again.
That's the question. It's my soul. It's in my blood. It's part of me. I can never give up on Liberia.
I can believe George because he's a man. A man do by a word. Yeah.
Free education. Free education. Disarm. Disarm. Peace to Liberia. Peace to Liberia.
If that's the man that people are accusing, what did you hear him say? Free what? Free education, disarm, and peace to Liberia. When you listen to Garland Allingworth telling the Congress bull crap, when you listen to Joe Boakai, a man who lived on a pacemaker, does George Weah look at someone who is support things that he fought against? When you listen to George Weah talking about free education here, what does that remind you of? The message he just said, free education. When you listen to George Weah talking here,
they didn't do anything for you. Today, we are done half of what we promised you. Remember when I came here, I told you, if you elect me, I will build an institution, I will connect our country to our neighboring country. You can see, I kept my promise. Now, those people that were there, they didn't do anything, you gave them 12 years.
Thank you.
You gave me 6 years. I've done more than those people that had 12 years.
You see what I was talking about here? During the middle of the conversation? The president now is throwing all the bait out there. The comparison analysis. He just laid out for you what he has accomplished, the progress he's making. Now he's putting Liberian to the challenge. When last did you hear Joe Boakai coming out to say, you know what, President, we are your 6 years and our 6 years, here are the comparison. Nothing. Nothing. Joe Boakai does not have any political credit, my friend. He has no political credit. This man is nothing but a loser. Let's listen to the president here, folks.
Don't you think, our friends and family, don't you think to compare
Thank you.
the government, their government and our government, don't you think it's fair enough to give me another 6 years so you can compare the 12 plus 12?
That's the man where you say he don't know both. But he giving you a logical reason. A logical reason that surpasses anyone with PhD, master, whatever it is. How can you draw a comparison analysis when the Joe Boakai, who was there for 12 years, cannot even come out to give you he and Ellen 6-year record that will match George Weah 6 years, because there was nothing and there is nothing in there. And George Weah is even begging the people, you might not criticize Boakai now. You just give another 6 years. That way we can look at both of our record. And George Weah is going to get us 6 years. Because by the end of the 6 years, we will have a side-by-side comparison now. We'll look at Ellen 6 years, we'll look at George Weah 6 years and see what both accomplished. And then we'll look at George Weah's second term and Ellen's second term, and we'll see what both of them accomplished. Then we all can start to read a book. Then we all can start to write a book. That is the logic the man is making over there. Don't you see that as logic? Joe Boakai got nothing to compare himself with when it comes to George Weah's success. The man had already conceded to defeat. Joe Boakai has already conceded to defeat. Let's listen to the president's logic here.
It's a simple mathematics. Today, everyone that we know, our friends that work with the previous government,
yes,
those super ministers that are making $15,000, some of them 20. Yesterday they angry because those that are left in our government, they're not making the 20, 15,000 no more. It's simply because we hammer that salary so we can pay for the school fees, we can pay the free schools.
You hear that? That's what we call meeting the challenge. Meeting the challenge. When you listen to Joe Boakai telling the people out there, oh, they call your pay and you're getting money. But he's not telling you that they were the one who created that problem to begin with. When Ellen took power, Ellen did not say, oh, we'll cut your pay, because Taylor was not getting enough. Ellen and Boakai had enough. And Boakai even said they squandered a lot of opportunities. He admitted to that. The late child Walker Bronsky even admitted to that. Now we are came and the left we are with a burden of problems. And we are said, should we retire or lay off people? Or should we get rid of the mess that Ellen and Joe Boakai live here? Paying high salary to people that don't deserve high salary. And the executive decided to cut their salary down in order to create stability. In order to create stability, keep people on the job. You know how difficult that is to do? Then you get Joe Boakai then who messed the thing up, want to come back here and tell the Liberian people that, oh, the government doing this 1 year. Did you ever hear George Weah during his 2017 campaign that when he became president he will cut salary? No. But he just told you that when Ellen and Boakai led that country for 12 years, they paid people more than what they were deserving. And after they left, Unimil left, that salary remained up there. But how could they maintain that salary? And I want the smartest thing. What did I tell you about this election? That we're looking at candidates, or we're looking for candidates who will describe this problem to us and find a solution and change the course. And that's exactly what the president said in this deliverable or conversation with the people. That's what he said. Let me progress.
Because if a driver driving a Mercedes car and he's paid $1,000, and another driver driving a Pontiac and they pay him $5,000, it is unfair. If a minister that sits in his office, he's a minister, it's the same title. If he can make $20,000 and another minister making $3,000, it's unfair.
There you go.
When we came, we said no. Ministers will make the same salary. Drivers will make the same salary. That's what we did.
And Joe Boakai will never explain those things because Joe Boakai is the one who created that problem. So there's reason that I want you to understand. When I say why Joe Boakai cannot run on Ellen record, why Joe Boakai cannot run on his record, because what you just listened to the president describe, those are problems that Joe Boakai then left for this president. And smartly with his team and the international partner, they decided to solve that problem, to unpack that problem and solve it. That is why when you listen to Joe Boakai speak, let's listen to Joe Boakai here just briefly here, right? Let's listen to Joe Boakai here briefly here, all right? Let's just listen to Joe Boakai briefly here, all right? Listen to Joe Boakai here briefly.
Parents are losing their children to drugs. The presence of electing someone as president is not to honor them or to make them feel good. It's to bring in a...
Does that man really make sense for anybody to listen to? Does it really make sense? Let's go to the other video here, because the other video here is completely nonsense. Let's come to the other video here again.
So Liberians, we want to give you hope. God gave hope to you, but it put leadership in charge. And that leadership must be conscious of the need of the people. If that leadership is not conscious, it's all they're talking about, chartering planes, going around, singing.
So what does he have to offer? What is the old man saying? This is a man who served as vice president for 12 years. And he's not saying anything that comes close to his position that he served individually and to the 12 years. But you already know what Joe Boakai was responsible for, right? You already know what he's supposed to have done as vice president, right? And you know what he already did. This man is very, very irrelevant. I don't know why people listen to him. Let's get back to George Weah here.
And this is the success story you see today. But they will tell you, oh, they cut the people's salary down. No, Hamad Nazi, they even cut my salary down. They Hamad Nazi my salary. Because when I was making my speech at the legislature, I said, cut my salary 25%. I didn't know that they were going to do harmonization. So when they cut 25%, when they decided to harmonize, I asked them, so me when cut 25% I said, oh, harmonize me too? They say yes.
So they got double cut. You got double
so
cut.
You see, so it affected me.
2 times.
Even though I cut 25% of my salary before, and when the harmonizing, of course, I had to pay that price for you to have a free school and to have some benefits.
Isn't the free school coincide with what the president said in that documentary by Denzel Washington before the war? That he wanted free education? Don't you see the consistency right there, folks? This is one of the reasons why I will continue to promote and discuss the positive thing that this man has done. I may not agree with him on some things, but there are many things that he said and he's doing, and I will continue to promote here. When you listen to that clip by Denzel Washington, Mr. Weah in that clip said, free education, disarm, and peace. And today, as he come to every one of us, begging to be re-elected, because that's what he does. He's not telling you, if I don't win, I'm going back to war. Weah was there in 2005. He lost. He didn't say he was going to war. 2011, when he lost, he and Winston Tubman, they did not say they were going to war. Joe Boakai enjoyed the pleasantry of those victories, even though it was not fair. Now, one day, George Weah said he was going back to war. But you know what? Joe Boakai is a man with no message. Joe Boakai is a man who wants to take the country back. Liberians want to move forward. And the only person that is willing and ready and has committed himself to moving the country forward is the man you are looking at right now. He is the president of the Republic of Liberia, George Weah. Let's try to listen to him here briefly, and then we got something short for you guys, and then we'll call it a night. Let's listen.
But what I want to say to you, we inherited people that even work in that 12 years. In their life, those people make, some of them make 20,000, 15,000. They never buy a kitchen. People work with us, they make 2,000. but most of them get homes. And they tell you that, oh, the person, he built a house, he corrupt. If you make $2,000 a month, and you get 12 months in a year, if you time that, it's how much? It's $24,000. Now, if you times that $24,000 times 5, it's $120,000. And that $120,000 can even buy you a luxury home. You can buy a luxury home for $75,000 and keep the rest. But in that time, they did not do it. People working around today, they're buying their own homes, even though they're making $3,000, $2,000. And that's what you call growth. In their life, they make the money, but all they do, that from nightclub, the day, so you can see no trace. I inherited officers from that government. All of the officers today with me, they get their own homes. So you see, because if you're not successful, the people with you, they will not be successful.
That's true.
People stay 40 years, 60 years in government.
Yeah, and did nothing.
They got all the positions.
Yep.
From minister to vice president.
Yep.
And they don't achieve anything. They come today and they tell you that they are rescuer. Let us not joke.
So folks, do you think the president is wrong over there? Let's go back here quickly so you can see what the president meant. Let's go back so you can see what the president meant. All right? The 40 years. Here you go right here. Exactly what the president just said about Joe Boakai. We'll be very specific here because he tried to use a blank name for Joe Boakai. This man started public service since 1973. He did it in the 80s. He did it in the early 90s. And then he spent time with Ellen. So the president is on the money. He is on the money with that analysis. Let's listen to him all.
We are on the right trajectory, young people. This is our time. Let us seize the moment. You see me every time I speak to you, I'm practical. These are the things you see in people. People that believe that they are leaders, but in their life, they cannot show 2 persons that have been successful.
Nothing.
I can show you thousands of them.
Nothing.
You are not making a mistake to support Bakubel. People of Babulu, I came here, you did not ask me to build a hospital for you.
Thank you.
I went to the United Arab Emirates, and my good friend, my former president, the one that played for his team, Al Jazeera, he asked me, what do you need? I told him we have issues. We need hospital. We sat there. But as soon as he said yes, I said, but then you're going to Bapolo.
There you go.
Simply because in this area, we need a hospital that can cater to the people from Bombing County, people from Lofa, right in the corner there. And yet,
what the president is describing is what we call gap analysis and need analysis. The president looked at the strategic area, the equal distance between the area he just listed, and saw a gap when it comes to medical facility. And he saw the need when it comes to meeting other with some medical condition. You see, Joseph Boakai got no experience whatsoever in making critical decisions. Right in his own backyard is where the president making this comparison right now. The people need have been lingering over there for a long time. The gap has been existing over there for a very long time. And do you think it was a surprise that the people turned out? Look, the young people of Lofa County need to make sure, and the young people of Bapulu County also need to make sure that they defeat Joe Boakai in his own town. That is the greatest victory that I'm looking forward to. I don't know about you guys, but I would really like to see Joe Boakai losing at his country or county of origin.
So don't let them tell you otherwise. When I said I was in the 14 military hospital, people said I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have sense. But you see, I did not listen to them. I built a hospital. Well, coronavirus is the hospital that said, you see, if I'm going to tell you that I don't mind, I'm a prophet, you'll believe me. But you see, I'm not a prophet. I just anticipated to build a hospital just in case something happened. Did I know that there was going to be coronavirus? No. Because we don't have these things in our country, so we want to do everything to put them there. So when we finish with our 2 terms, we leave a legacy. The next person that comes in will not be focusing on hospital. They'll be focusing on something else.
That is 1 million times better than rescuing. What the president just said is called incremental development. Incremental development. And that is what Ellen and Joe Boakai never did. What the president just explained is what we call incremental development. If Ellen had put hospital over there, the president would have been thinking about bringing in a helicopter where they would train paramedics to be able to improve that hospital in its advanced stage. They never did none of those things. So he got to start from scratch. And the scratch that he want to start from, he want to make sure the foundation is very stable, strong, so that whoever become president, they will be able to do the other aspect that he's going to leave over.
Leadership is succession. So you do something, when somebody can do something else. But with nothing there at all, you got to face everything. And that's what we're doing. Because when we came here in this republic of Liberia, the oldest African independent state, you understand? And you live in a community that's so much. Family and friends are always inform you, I am no different from you. You're from the ghetto, I live in the ghetto. I see people telling their story. But if we tell our story, somebody will cry. Yesterday I was listening to someone spoke yesterday on the internet. They explained how they suffer. And I said, wow, wow, that's good. That's good. Also, you suffered. So if you can explain how you caught hard time, why is it difficult for you to help other people that are catching hard time? Because my story is a dead man. And that's why I say any child that know me, anybody that I know, they will not suffer than me.
Oh, folks, I'm talking to myself here. My bad. I'm talking to myself. Let me let the president go ahead. Let the president go ahead.
People talk about how they work in cinema. Other work in cinema. I saw Kool-Aid and popcorn in Warasa for some frontier people, Mr. Edu. And those children are still living. They can prove it. They living. I know say popcorn and food for the parents. When I finish, I do 95. Anybody here do 95? You all know 95? You know 95? You change the $1, you get 95, the Tesla driver, then you get you $1. You all know it? Or that new generation did. And that's why I want to prepare you. That's the kind of thing we did. To give a funding to survive. So when you talk about suffering, we are the team. We know about suffering. And that's why we do everything for it to be okay. My mother stays in the market, she can't even generate $200. I used to gamble. I used to play cards to make sure I gave her money. So people cannot talk about, oh, I suffer, I did. You suffer and you never touch anybody's life. Why we make bankers, we adopt children today, the manager for banks. They work in big institutions and you can't show anything. And every day you boast that you suffer, everybody just suffer. But if you suffer, then you have to change the other people's life.
And that's exactly what this man has done. From the story of him that was told in Los Angeles to the story that is being told of him in Europe, and by him telling his own story, and by us here discussing what he has done, there's no doubt in my mind that the people of Liberia, they have clearly understand now that this man mean his words when he said free education, disarm, and peace. And when Denzel Washington said all he knows now is to keep going back and Liberia is his home, is where he belongs. There's no doubt in my mind that this coming election, this man is going to be given his second term to take this country along with the Alpha generation to where it belongs. All we have to do is to continue to present whatever the man has accomplished within a period of 5.5 years. Joseph Boakai is in no state, no shape or form to be anything in our country. The number of years he spent, we all know that it all became a fiasco. Nothing positive that Joe Boakai was able to accomplish. Absolutely nothing. We know that. And he will be defeated again. It's just a matter of us waiting for the appropriate time so that he can be defeated. Because Joseph Boakai stands no chance to win any election in our country because he has no political credit to win any election in our country. He's nothing but a complete failure. Yes, he's nothing but a complete failure. He has been given all the opportunity in the world to change things around, but he failed to redeem himself. And you know it, and I know it, that Joseph Boakai will never be president of that country. He is part of the community of people that destroyed our country. So how can he be a rescuer? Let us listen to the president here, and then we'll call it a day.
Amanda! 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 Oh. D'ici pendant qu'on sait, They see people will defeat them, they come again, will defeat them again, say.
Yes.
And the sound says battle cry.
They not new people that they see people who will defeat them, say. How can a man that stay 40 years in government, you not do nothing, coming back, say you can do something, say. I say to you, don't mind them, don't mind them, don't mind them. Say, the people that cannot give you free school fee, joy we are giving to you. They say, Momo, say,
And I'm going to enjoy it too, right? I'm enjoying it right now.
Mentor President of the Republic of Liberia, say, to what another way cause who get to feed and say, Amanda! Amanda! God bless you. If they see people that will flog 2017, they come in again, will flog me again, say, if they see people that will wait 2017, they come in, will wait and say, and the people will beat them again, say, the president of our country will maintain the peace because when opposition will maintain the peace for 12 years, say, God bless you.
So yeah, so guys, we'd like to say a big thank you to every one of you guys. Thank you guys. I see many of you guys here laughing today. You know, I missed the one. My man Pamota all laughing. You know the one I like, the one where he said, the muffler fall off the car. I need to look for that other clip there, so we'll make that part of our clip too. The one where he said the muffler fall off the car, and you know, so yeah, it's my little thing that I got for him too. All right, so yeah, my own here too now, guys.
Boakai talking about election would be stolen.
Let me try to
put it
away.
It's a total disaster. Who's going to steal election from Joe Boakai? If I tell you that means to look relevant. Joe Boakai, you nothing in that turn. You nothing. Everybody know you nothing, Joe Boakai. So don't be wasting your time. You nothing. Look at that behind you. Most of them they just fucked on what they behind you for. But Joe Boakai, you are nothing. Who can tell you go steal election? Nobody going to even give you the number you're looking for. Let that boy yeah, Joe Boakai, man.
So look guys, thank you guys so much. Tomorrow will be off and Thursday will be off. So please share the video. I want to say a big thank you to every one of you guys. Please don't forget to send your little contribution to the show. I would like to say a big thank you to Toyo Harris, who came today as our guest. Thank you very much. And thanks to every one of you guys that continue to support the platform. We are here to do the best we can. And we'll continue to do the best we can. And you know, we are here every time. So we'd like to thank few people on our YouTube channel tonight. Thank you guys, Michelle Dior. And then we also want to thank Robert Bashir. Thank you very much, all right, for staying put. Please share our stuff. God, we encourage you guys to also go on YouTube and subscribe. We're up down there. We are doing extremely well. Our start is growing. Yeah, it is growing very, very well. So thank you guys. God bless you guys. Again, until then, I see you guys. Take care of yourself. Have a pleasant night. Thank you guys. Good night to everyone. Bye.